So the movie begins with a man named Kim. Every day when he gets off the bus, he notices that a girl is sitting at the bus stand with her luggage. For the first few days, he ignores her. But one day the poor guy gets upset and asks her, "What are you doing here?" The girl says, "Waiting for the bus." Kim says, "The bus I got off was the last bus. Now a bus will come only in the morning." That girl, whose name is Neely, asks Kim, "Will you give me?" Kim didn't know him, that's why he shook his head in the negative and looked awkward. He goes away from here, but when he comes here the next day also, the same thing happens. Kim gets off the bus and the girl sits at the bus stand again. The only change was that it was raining today, and Kim felt sorry for that girl. And he tells this girl that it is not right for you to stay here, my house is nearby. If you don't want to, you can spend the night there. The girl agrees, and Kim takes he takes it home. The scene cuts to a nurse on night duty in the ICU. At this time, a strange man tries to enter the ICU. When the nurse refused to let him in, he told her that he actually wanted to go to the mortuary. That is, he wants to go to the place where the hospital freezes dead bodies after death. The nurse answers him. Even before that, a patient's health deteriorates and the situation is handled. When they return, they find that the man has left. In the following scene, we see a light shop owned by Young. A confused man comes to Young to ask for a light. Young gives it to him. But the strange thing seems to be that Young knows all the secrets of that man without him telling anything. Writes the information into its data register. And then the same man from the hospital comes into the same shop. Young asks him, "How can I help you?" "I can do it," but the man walks away in confusion without saying anything. Now Sean Kathakar wants to show us a school scene where a girl was watching over a class in the ground. It was seen that a girl named Haijo was sitting there. Haiju also notices him and says hi from above. One strange thing we notice here is that Haiju and the other girl, all these people here were ignoring him, as if they were not able to see him. We are shown again the scene at the light shop where Yan is approached by a man. As soon as this man arrived, the glasses of war started turning into ice. The man asks Young, "Have you seen a dog?" "Actually, a dog troubles me a lot and comes in front of my house and barks a lot." Young denies it, saying he hasn't seen any dogs yet. He took off his glasses, and as soon as he took off his glasses, the man also left from there. Here we are shown Haejo's school. All of Haejo's friends were talking about school. I've seen a lot of girlsome souls. Haiju was also trying to talk to these girls, but those girls were ignoring him in a very strange way. She wasn't responding to anything he said. She didn't even look at him when he called her. Meanwhile, a new woman arrives at the light shop, whose name we learn is Haiwan. She silently looks around the shop, and then a light comes on. When Ko is about to touch her, Young awkwardly refuses, saying, "You shouldn't do this." The tone of the battle was such that it seemed as if the woman was trying to kill someone by touching that light. Anyway, Haiwan leaves, and we see Haiju on the same road. It was raining on the way. She was returning home from school. On the way, she starts feeling scared, so she comes inside the light shop, and we come to know it turns out that Young knew Haiju well and was happy when she arrived. Young gives Haiju a candy, and they start talking. Haiju says she was very scared because he's heard there are a lot of ghosts around. Young replies, "It's nothing to be so afraid of." Now Young asks her a strange question. "Do you live with your mom?" When Haiju answers yes, Young gives her a shocking surprise. "This tells you that you have received a gift from God. Can you also see souls, spirits, and ghosts?" Haiz excitedly asks, "If I ever have any, even if I see a soul or spirit, how will I recognize it?" Young says, "We have to look at those people carefully. There must be something abnormal in them." Haijiao's thinking also increases, and here we are shown Young's reflection in the mirror below. He looked very old, which meant Jung himself was a ghost. The scene cuts, and we see Kim again on the other side. After returning home, Kim notices that Lee's nails are in the wrong direction, and this thing scares him a lot, and we see that Lee attacks her, but what he does to her is not shown. But then Lee took his touch stick and left Kim's house. And now blood was dripping from her touch case. "Hi Jojo, are you from home?" Lee had left. She also sees Lee, and she says hi to Lee, who looks surprised and looks back at her. Lee herself wondered how Haiju could see her, since Lee was a ghost. At this point, we also see another boy named Yuji on the road. He was also very scared when he was returning home from school. To reduce his fear, he is singing a song and going home. Inside, a girl named Seom is getting very annoyed by his singing. She was unable to do her work because of his singing. The lights went off here, and as soon as the lights went off, we heard him singing. Someone else is shown with her in the shadows, and Zion is completely unaware of this. Well, when she goes to check the lights, she finds out that the main switch was not turned off. But still, the electricity was not coming, and this was happening only in his house. She ignores this too, thinking that the house is very old. There must be some technical problem here. When she comes into the room and opens the laptop again and continues her work, she hears Yuji's voice. She disturbs him again, and through the window, he tells Yuji to stop singing. Then Yuji also looks towards the window of the house and sees someone behind Zion. He is seen standing there, due to which he gets scared and runs away from here. Right? Now we are shown a nurse in the hospital. The nurse was in the washroom at this time. Then someone comes out from the ventilation of the washroom and hangs himself and starts watching him. The nurse, seeing this, she wants to die, but she doesn't scream. Rather, she closes her eyes and ears and completely ignores that entity. After which that entity disappears from there. The scene cuts to Heijo again the next night. Jo is returning home from school again that night when she sees Haiwan on the way. It was raining at the time. Haiju shared her umbrella with Haiwan. They were walking and talking when suddenly Ivan started to grow taller. As she grew up, she became very tall. Hyeji was terrified to see her and realized she wasn't human, just as Young had told her. Young had also told him that if anyone appeared before him like this, if he comes, she should ignore him and go away without looking at him or listening to him. At first, Heiju believes this and starts walking straight ahead. But as Heiju looks back, so it turns out Haiban was still following her. Limping, everyone even fights the war. I find out, so he runs out of his light shop. He tells Haiju to go home immediately and confess his love to Haiban here. When he takes off his glasses, Haiwan gets scared by his eyes and walks away. The next day, while Yuji was returning home from school, he saw Lee on the way. He also notices a suitcase near Lee, but did not notice that blood was still coming out of the suitcase. Mistaking Mutali for an innocent girl, he starts sharing his umbrella with her. And as they pass by Zion's house, he tells Uggy that, I feel very scared when I pass in front of this house because once I was inside this house, I saw some entity behind the owner of this house. Right at this time we see that Zion also sees someone's shadow behind her inside the house. And she understands that too. She finds out that some other entity is also living with her in her house. We again ask Yuji and look at Lee. While talking, Yuji sees Lee's hands and notices that Lee's nails were attached on the wrong side, and seeing this, he understands that Lee, she was not even human, and she dies of fear and falls down out of fear. Goes away and his legs also become crooked. He starts trembling violently and Lee asks her, are you okay? Yuz doesn't respond to anything he says and limps away. After Lee comes inside the light shop, Young asks Lee, what do you want? How can I help you? Hoon Lee is looking intently at a light bulb at this time and says to Young, I know what I want. Meanwhile, she turns to go back and the detectives arrive. The detectives came here looking for a man and were asking Young about that man. Meanwhile, he notices blood spilled where Lee was passing. He doesn't notice Lee's suitcase, but he stops and asks Lee, are you hurt? Lee also gives the name Sarila and starts leaving from here. Lee's condition is also very bad. It was raining outside, so the detective gives him his rent code to protect him from the rain. Now the scene of the hospital is shown again in Thokra scene. A nurse sits with a dead body in a hospital morgue. She gets scared and tells the doctor that it was the dead body speaking. The doctor is not at all surprised. He gets up normally and tells the nurse to come and apologize to him. Both of them apologize to the dead body. After this, the nurse leaves from here and the doctor alone takes care of this dead body. They start preparing the body and we are shown the doctor talking to the dead body. The dead body was confused about what was happening to it, so the doctor told it that it was dead. In this same hospital, the nurse hadn't gone home yet when she was in the elevator. Suddenly he sees a bus driver. The bus driver started crying after seeing her, and as he cried, his eyes welled up. Instead, water starts gushing out of his entire body, and this water fills the lift. The nurse gets very scared after seeing this, and just as these people are about to drown in the water, then suddenly the lift door opens, and the nurse sees that here, but neither was there that water nor that man came back to us from the light shop. A scene is shown where the detectives have come again to arrest a criminal. Young now begins to question the detective about the man, the person they're looking for, the man the detective was talking about at the time. We notice that the detective's eyes are constantly shifting. The next morning we are shown a scene in the hospital. The nurse returns to her duty and when a patient is being shifted to another room by lift, then the patient tells me that I have a lot of problems in the hospital. Such people are seen who are not visible to anyone. The nurse doesn't say anything to him and says, I can see them too. This happens when we go to the brink of death and come back to life. She tells me that I too had a similar accident, after which I came back from the jaws of death, and since then I can see those people, and if you see someone like that now, please ignore him. After this, the nurse brings him to an ICU room, and here in the ICU room we have many. Looking at all the patients who were in coma, it was surprising that all these patients, those were the same characters we've been seeing for quite some time this season, meaning here. A huge twist is that the people we see aren't actually alive. The souls of those characters were shown wandering in the world because they did not die. They were neither alive nor in a coma. That is why their souls were wandering in the world. Now finally we get to see Haiju. Haiju always goes to the light shop for her mom. She used to bring a bulb, but the strange thing was that whenever she came home and put in the bulb, that bulb would get damaged immediately. So many bulbs got accumulated inside his dustbin. Haejo's mom is sad at this time, so Haejo hugs her. I take it, and at this time I feel a very strange thing. That suddenly his mother started smelling of many flowers. Through cutscenes, we are shown the real world. Look at the doctor, who was telling a dead body that you are dead. That doctor is like no other. Rather, he was talking to Haiju's mom, and at this time, he was preparing the dead body of Haiju's mom. He was placing flowers around her dead body. Because of which, now there was a fragrance coming from inside Haiju's mom. It means that Hyejo's mom and Hyejo are also in the world of souls at that time. After all, how do these people come to the world of souls here? But this mystery is revealed, and the story goes into the past. We see all the characters featured in this season following their respective routines. First, we see Kim. Kim was on his way to meet his fiancée, and Kim's fiancé was none other than Lee. After which, we are shown Haiwan and Zion, and we come to know it's true that these two live together. And finally, we get to see Haiju and her mom. Haiju's mom took great care of Haiju. Haiju's dad always came to pick him up, but because that day Haiju's dad, she had come to pick me up, and this was also shown to us, Yu-ji, while leaving school. Yu-ji comes and sits in a bus which already has the same bus driver that we saw earlier. You have seen that when he was in the lift with the nurse and the water was filling up, at this time, the driver notices that the brakes of the bus are not working properly, yet he did not repair them because it was time for the bus to leave, and at this time, all the main characters were also in this bus. The bus started moving, it was raining suddenly, his balance deteriorates, the tire gets punctured, the brakes don't work, and she breaks the bridge and falls into the water. Lee, who was currently waiting for a bus at the next terminal, so that Kim can come out of it, he is devastated by the accident. Suddenly, everyone's lives are at stake. In case of emergency, everyone comes to the hospital, and everyone's condition is very bad. We learn that both Haiju's mom and Haibom have died by the time they reach the hospital. And everyone else was not well either. Everyone else was in a coma as well. Kim's mom and dad were very worried about Kim at this time. Lee texts Kim's mom to ask about Lee's condition, and Kim becomes angry. Key's mom tells him that Kim died because she didn't want Lee to be with Kim, because Lee couldn't hear or speak, and she had no one else in the world except Kim. Upon hearing the news of Kim's death, she breaks down and takes her own life, which is how we learn that in the world of souls, 3 people were dead, and the rest were between life and death. Lee had committed suicide, and the suicide was done in such a painful manner that even the nails on his hands were broken, which is why his nails were upside down in the world of souls. Now it sinks back to the present, and we are shown the same world of souls. Hamlee is seen waiting at the same bus stand. Kim emerges from the bus, just as she was doing before she died. Actually, she's not Kim, she's Kim's soul, who has now forgotten that Lee used to be his fancy. He sees Lee as usual. He wonders why Lee is looking at him intently, and walks away. Kim would always fall after a short distance, because both of his legs were broken in the real world. That's why he couldn't walk properly even in this soul world. Kimka getting off the bus again and again in this soul world, she'd fall a little way off, and Lee would catch her, all in a loop. Kim always took him home carefully, and stitched his legs every day, so that he can walk in this soul world and also get well soon in the real world. While we have been considering Lee as a killer throughout the movie, in reality he is. Kim's best confidante was Sean's stumble. Now we are shown Zion, who is now in her dark house. The light's not coming on for a long time. She starts going crazy, and as she falls, then he remembers everything about his accident. She remembers her friend Haiwan holding her from behind to protect her. Upon learning this, he begins to cry profusely, and Haiwan comforts him. Here the detective is also turning on his lighter to turn on the secret, and in the dim light he glimpses his shadow and realizes that half of his head is missing. He gets scared and goes inside the light shop, and he fights with Young. He asks about all these things, that why such strange things are happening to him only. He also asks Young another question. Why does this world never have morning? Why is it always night? Jung does not say anything in response to his words, but looks at his glasses. He removes it, and we see his demonic eyes for the first time. Seeing this, the detective understood that Jung was a human being. He is not, and he also realized that he too is no longer a human being. The detective remembered his accident, but now he asks Jung the story of Jung. How did you come here? Jung tells us that years ago, when a storm struck, our building collapsed. My daughter and I were trapped inside that building. I tried so hard to find and rescue my daughter, but when I couldn't take it out, I came to this shop for help. At that time, the owner of this light shop was a girl who, after seeing me, told me that I was dead, and I have become a spirit, and he also told me that your daughter should be born in this world. She has been rescued and is alive. That is why you cannot meet her, Jung tells. From that day onwards, I started managing this light shop because I knew that after dying, I hope that after any trouble or in any difficulty, souls will definitely visit this light shop once. I am still working at this light shop so that I can meet my daughter once. Now the detective asks Jung if I am dead. Jung says no, you are in coma right now. Your soul is just here, you can go back to the world, and this place is for you. It's like a portal that connects this world and your human world. Here you have to find your light. If you find your light, then you can return to your... You will go into the world and start looking around. There were many lights here. He asks Chunk which is my light and I can get it from him. Chunk tells him that I've got your light. He looks at his lighter in surprise, which he has just lit without him. It was also burning. That is, this is his light. Here in this soul world, now we know that bus driver. We also see that bus driver came into this world to take all his passengers to the light shop. He wants that the life of those people who are in coma in the world can become normal again, and they can... This time, he comes to Yuji, still wet, to correct his mistake. He finds him in a light shop to go to so that Yuji can find his light and go back to his world and live a normal life. He tells Yuji everything, that at this time in this world, you are not real here, but your soul is there. He apologizes to her for what he did, and then the driver takes her to the light. The light comes inside the shop. As soon as he enters the shop, Yuji finds his light at first sight. He became aware of his light in such a way that all other lights appeared to him as medium, and the light appeared bright to him. It was visible as soon as Yuji touched that light. The light begins to shine even brighter, and Jung comes to her and says, I hope we don't meet here again. Nini, he was sending Yuji to his world and calling him brother from his side. The scene cuts to Kim and Lee again. Before the loop starts again, this time, Lee would quickly get inside the bus, showing speed, and tells Kim everything that you are currently in a soul world. I am dead, but you are still alive in your world, and the reason for being in coma at this time. Your soul is here, you have to go back to your world, wrote to Kim. She was explaining the past things, but not this, to him. Did she know who Lee was, and why was she telling him all this? Because of the accident, he had completely forgotten about Lamette. Here we see the bus driver come to pick up Zion. There he meets Zion's friend, to whom he apologizes for her death. Zion's friends forgive her, and she is now Zion. He requests his friend to please send him to a light shop. There is some hope for her survival. She is not completely dead yet. If she goes into the light shop, she will come alive in the real world. Hearing this, Zion's friend promises her that she will definitely send her to the light shop. Here we are now shown a scene from the light shop itself, where inside this time light shop, Heijo's mom came, who was dead. She came to the light shop to buy something for her daughter, Haiju, to receive light and emerge from his coma into the real world. But here he tells Django that your daughter will have to come here herself to get the light. Here Haiju's mom starts crying after seeing Jung, because but a big twist is the revelation that Heijo's mom is actually Young's daughter who was separated from Jung in that accident that day. She points this out to Jung, and Jung is overjoyed to meet his daughter. Finally, his years of hard work had paid off. His wait here had paid off. He embraces his daughter. While Sean's stumbling back here, we're shown the bus driver again. He came to meet the bus driver, Haiju. He tells Haiju everything about how their accident happened. He's in a coma and needs to go to the light shop to return to his world. Haiju gets a big shock after knowing all these things. So much has happened to Haiju. The strange thing that was happening, and which was disturbing her, was that her soul had no one could see him. Today he understood why all his friends ignored him, and why only one girl in school could see him. She was very nervous. She leaves and goes home, where she finds her mom bringing her light. It is here that Hayes learns that her mother is dead in the world of the muscles. Knowing this, she is completely shattered and refuses to go back to her world with her light. Haiju had her hands tied. She wouldn't hold the light. But Hayacho's mom hugs him. She loves him. explains a lot to him, and forcibly puts his light in his hand. Meanwhile, Zion's friend had also sent Zion to the light shop after making a promise to her. Zion went to the light shop and noticed that the lights were very dim. This meant that his chances of survival were very slim. Even if she had survived, she would have been more ill and unhappy there. Because her friend was here in this world, that is why she refuses to go back to her world and returns to her home. She comes and tells her friend that from today onwards, she will never leave from here. Here we are shown that Lee also forcibly dragged Kim to the light shop. Kim still doesn't recognize Lee, but agrees with him. When he goes into the light shop, he too gets his light. As soon as she touches her light, there is a bright light, and finally Kim is back in her world. He leaves, and Lee sits down crying bitterly in the background because she knew that after today she will never be able to see Kim again. The scene cuts to show us the real world. It goes to where finally Yuji not only regained consciousness but also became normal like before. It was over, and here comes the same nurse whom we saw in the beginning of the movie to meet him. I have seen that Haiju also came out of coma, but everything happened to Haiju in the other world. I still remember that this is why she was very sad, because it was the last time she saw her mother. I also met with, he missed his mother very much in this world. In the world of souls, we are shown that he is a bus driver. Now, after apologizing to everyone, he started doing good deeds in the other world as well. He had taken the duty that all the souls of those who would go to that world in coma, he will take their souls to the light shop so he can return to his world sooner. Here in this world, in the light shop, along with Jung, Hayacho's mother also lives, and both these father and daughter are very happy to meet each other in this world. Finally, we see Kim in the real world. Joe had returned from his coma, but still couldn't remember Lee. He hears about Lee from his mom and a few people, that she was his friend. But he himself did not remember anything about it. Yes, he definitely remembered that the world of souls, it was Lee who helped him transition from the real world to the real world. Detective Song was also back in his life. But now, because he got life again, he also has access to all the things present in this world. The spirits were visible, and this caused the detectives to become quite disturbed. Here the detective meets a strange man. Joe tells the detective not to worry and says, I understand that you are disturbed by seeing people and souls from other worlds. Earlier, I used to get disturbed in the same way because I can see them all. But gradually everything will become normal, and like this, the season ends here, showing just these two.